Hello everyone, it is Erin from the Archer and Olive Ambassador team, and I am here today to get you ready for Thanksgiving. So for me, Thanksgiving is always a super fun time to have with family, but more importantly, to me, is the food. So I have set up this Thanksgiving spread that may help you when it comes to making your food this year. It is something that I pride myself on. I love having good food. I love making food. I love having a big assortment and spread of food for my guests. So this is definitely something that I absolutely love to do. And maybe if there were more people than the small group of people that I've been doing in the past several years, then it would be a little bit more chaotic and stressful. But right now I really do love doing my Thanksgiving dinners. So I have here a seating chart in the bottom right hand side. This may not be something that you necessarily need to do if you just have a small group. Last year it was only a 3-person group for me, so I wouldn't have needed that seating chart. But it could be a nice place to put what grocery lists you may need, some shopping lists, things like that. Things that may help you when it comes to preparing food. But for those that need a seating chart, especially if I had a large group, I would be a little bit extra. I would have placemats, I would have little name cards. I'm a little extra like that. But like I said, you could always substitute that out and put things in like a grocery list or something to that effect that helps you when it comes to preparing and shopping for the food that you may need. If it's also a more of a potluck style that you're not responsible for everything, you could also put in that seating chart area what certain people are responsible for. That way you know what foods you have to cook, what foods they have to cook, and when everything is going to come together for the dinner. So another part of this spread is over on the left hand side. I have a section for the schedule for Thanksgiving. So I put in from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. because typically your Thanksgiving may not last that long. I know that a lot of people put in their turkeys super early in the morning, especially if you're eating at like noon, 1 o'clock instead of like a typical dinner time. Or if you have a very, very large turkey that may need to go into the oven quite early to make sure it's cooked all the way through. So I do have from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. rather, but you can always adjust those times over on the left-hand side. Another thing that I like to do is I like to highlight every other line in my spreads. It helps my brain process the information. So I definitely included that in this particular setup. So I included that for my schedule, for all of my meal lists, and for the dietary restrictions section as well. So here I'm giving a few examples when it comes to the actual schedule that you could put in for your Thanksgiving. So for example, at 4 a.m. I have preheating the oven, and at 4:30 or after the preheating is done, put in the turkey. At 7 a.m. make the appetizers that I haven't already made. At 9 a.m. maybe put in the desserts. 10:30 put out the appetizers to get ready for the guests, and guests arrive at like 11 a.m. for example, where the Thanksgiving meal is scheduled for 2 o'clock. So those are just some examples that you could do for the schedule. And then moving on, I have sections for each of the food and their cook times. So this is really important for me because I only cook a limited amount of things ahead of time, and usually I am doing my own cooking. Sometimes some folks bring appetizers or sides or something to that effect, but for me, I am doing most of the cooking, so I want to include sections for what is the food that's going out and what is the cook time for that food. That way I'm able to cook everything on a schedule and make sure that I have enough room, for example, in the oven, because if I only have one oven and I'm cooking turkey, I also need to make sure that there's enough room for any appetizers that I need to cook. And if there's not enough appetizers or room for sides, then I need to cook that ahead of time. So those are things that really help me when it comes to preparing a full feast of a dinner. And last but not least, I have a section for dietary restrictions. This may be because some folks have preferences. For example, if they're vegetarian or vegan, there are certain things that you may want to substitute those types of meats out, or you have some sort of vegetarian option, and then you make sure you're not cooking it together. Or they could have allergies. For example, I put in here that Michael has a peanut allergy, so if I did make anything dessert wise that has peanuts, I need to make sure that I don't cook it in the same space as anything else that is being cooked, or it is set to the side, or I don't cook it at all, to make sure that we're taking those dietary restrictions and those allergies into account. So that is my entire setup. Like I mentioned, definitely go check out the printable. It has a lot of other fun little floral spreads, and you can fill this out for yourself this Thanksgiving. And if you do, definitely tag Archer and Olive and myself at Erin Designs, and we would love to see it.